Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Amir Islam, who is the co-founder of Carry My Pet, which provides pet relocation services for pet owners. Hi Amir, welcome to ELI.
Hi, thank you so much.
I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Thank you so much, first of all, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to speak about my journey. Of course, it is really very interesting in context to me. Well, it's been almost 10 to 15 years being into logistic industry.
Mhm,
And I started from a core freight forwarding company, which comes under the category of logistics. And
mhm,
since my college days, I was looking something to try something out of the box. I was not made to do and go for a regular job. So I keep
mhm,
exploring myself, what best I can do. I was just looking around me, any idea which can come up and I can make a business model on it. And it
mhm,
took me around more than 10 to 12 years while working in different industries. I have no idea. I completed my BBA in marketing. Then I put on
mhm,
my studies on hold for a time, and I realized that I should start working in some
mhm.
corporate or in some different kind of companies to explore more about business and to
Okay.
learn the idea. So
Mhm,
this all started in this way, and I started my company in a startup
mhm,
itself. I was lucky enough to get my first job in startup, and I realized the synergies which startup companies come across, and the
mhm,
kind of atmosphere they try to create, and the challenges, which is of course one of the big aspect in every startup. From the outside, it looks everything is quite organized, but
mhm.
when you inside go and you realize, so that was a good learning for me. So
Okay.
during my journey into logistic industry, I realized that the big gap and nobody is actually addressing the problem of any pet parent. I
Mhm.
myself is a pet parent. I have six Persian cats with me. So
Okay.
it is really a pain for any pet parent to relocate. Even if
Mhm.
you try to relocate within cities, within kilometers, 5 kilometer, 10 kilometers, even if you'll find it difficult until unless
Yeah.
you are not opting out for your own vehicle to go around.
Mm,
So with this idea, I was just looking around and I found that there is a big gap and there is no company solving the problem. So
mm,
we first identified the problem that the pet transportation itself is a huge and complex process.
mm,
As a pet parent, you yourself cannot go and explore the documentation requirement and the necessities of special attention required to any pet parent during the journey. And there are few
mm,
options only.
mm,
So I was just figuring it out, and me, along with my brother, Mr. Faisal, he was working in a hospitality industry. So we
mhm,
both decided, okay, let's we ourselves are pet parent, it's a pain, and we both come up with the idea in 2019. We started this company,
mhm,
and I'm really happy, and I really feel proud to say that till date we have relocated more than 5 to 6 thousand pets.
mhm,
Yeah. And I feel proud to say that there are companies, but Carrying My Pet Self Come is a unique company and create his own space because we are the only India's pet transportation company who is
mm,
solving problem in terms of both international, domestic, and offering pet parent and ease. By ease, I mean that we are not restricting them to choose only the mode which in which we are comfortable. We
mhm,
are giving them option to choose a wide range of transportations. By wide range, I mean they can do a transportation by air. They
mhm,
can choose the inconvenience through train, which is economical.
mm,
And in best part is they can travel with their pet same time.
mhm,
Because in air, most of the time it goes into cargo hold. So they have to keep their pet into cargo hold and they have to travel separately, which is
mm,
again a point of concern for any pet parent. Yeah, how will my pet will go in cargo hold and I'll go? But
mm.
at last, we don't have any other option. So
Right.
again, that train provides this option of traveling with your pets. And
Mhm,
then third option is, of course, by road. So
mm,
far, journey is quite challenging
mm.
because pet parents come with high expectation. But again, once we are done with the job, we feel little satisfied, and we found that we have done something good, Gauss. And fortunately, so far it's going wonderful. So this is all how I started Peggy My Pet.
Understood. Uh, Amit, tell us a little bit about the initial days, as in what motivated you to quit your job and start something on your own? Did you have a proper plan in place, or um, what led to the the decision of starting on your own?
Actually, as I said, since my college days, I was not a person. In fact, I'm still not a person to go for a regular jobs.
Mm-hmm,
I keep exploring things around me, and I was looking for an opportunity where I can go and grab and start a business. So during my journey in this logistic company, I was exploring and realizing there is a lot of queries which is coming around, but the kind of attention they require and the kind of support a lead is required is not available.
mm-hmm,
Because since we were working into a core B2B module, so our attitude somehow become that same. Though we are not realizing that the person sending the query is a consumer directly, and he's a pet parent,
mm-hmm,
and he requires a lot of attention which is not for a required for a B2B person. So
mm-hmm,
that was something which was continuously hurting me. Okay, yeah, they want to relocate, but they don't have any reliable option in a platform. So
mm-hmm,
that time I realized, of course, it was I started things with the little basics of business, how we are going to do, from which city we are going to start. So we started initially with Delhi with a small team initially, because we are not a funded company till date. We are a
mm-hmm,
bootstrap. So of course, this was one of the points which we need to keep always in mind, that we need to keep our expenses in control so that we can sustain. But fortunately, I feel myself proud that since beginning itself, we were a profitable company, and we decided and we built our module in a way that consumers should also not uh, feel the expenses, because petrol location is a very expensive process. First of all,
mm-hmm,
even if you travel within city, for us it may be for local transport it may be hundreds, 1,000 rupees, 1,200 rupees, 1,500 rupees. But
mm-hmm,
when we talk about pet in it, of course the prices go high,
mm-hmm.
and it is because it requires spatial attention, and some spatial arrangements need to be made place. That's why it is little expensive. So
Right.
this is the same concept in every any mode of transportation. In railways, we ourselves can travel in any coach in which the seats are available.
Mm-hmm.
But for pets, it is only AC coupes are required. Same
Okay.
way in airlines, we can travel in any city within 10,000 rupees. But
Mm-hmm.
if when it goes to about talks about pet, it is started from 15,000 to 20,000 rupees. So
Mm-hmm.
it is again a very expensive process. So we cannot keep our margin very high. So considering this point, initially it was a lot of challenges, and major challenges which we faced is when we started doing export. Because in export of a pet, it requires a lot of documentation.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, we need to do a lot of homework, that what are the Indian government requirements and what are the requirements from the other country, because there are two, three multiple parties involved. First,
Mm-hmm.
Indian government, then we have to fulfill the requirement of airlines, and
Mm-hmm.
then we have to fulfill the requirement of destination country. So it was a quite complex, and it required huge homework on our part, because we cannot go and tell anything to the customer, because they are very strict. So we need to keep everything in mind. So this was something related to the operation challenges we faced initially. But
Mm-hmm.
as soon as we grown further, and we found it easy.
Got you. Uh,
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the, how did you build the business initially? How did you find the first customer, and how did you educate your customer in the first place? Because traditionally, as you said, there are no companies in India which do the same thing that you do. So the pet owner expect to carry the pets themselves, or maybe they'll make a arrangement for that. So how did you educate or bring awareness to the customer that you are there to solve that problem in the first place, and then how did you find the first customer?
Well, as I said, it was not only Carry My Pet which is started the first as a first company. There are company, but not as a core pet transportation category.
Mm-hmm,
So we first ourselves portrayed and go to the customer and tell them that we are the dedicated pet transportation company, because anyways we comes under a category of logistic. So there
mm-hmm,
was need was already available in the market. There were customers who were already traveling with their pets, and there are airlines who was offering services, but
mm-hmm,
being a complex process, there was nobody who was available to tell to the customer that this is something which is required additional on your part. So when they go themselves, they found it very complex, and sometimes they just drop the idea of making it travel with the pet, and
Mm-hmm.
they just tried to put it in some family known places, some boarding places. So, what, of course, when we are starting a business, we need to first tell to the customer, yes, we are offering and we are solving this problem. So, we started with basic website. We started promoting ourselves into different social media platforms and try to approach to most of the pet community that
Mm-hmm.
yes, Carry My Pet is a company who is offering these services and you can rely on us.
Mm-hmm.
And since these are life commodity, and they and most of the pet parent, they are very attached to their pets,
Mm-hmm.
so it was a very difficult task for us to give them that trust. Okay, yes, we will handle your pet same way like you do. And they come across is n number of questions. How will you feed them? Where will you put during the flight? And how much time they would be required to get the pet custody. And usually it happens as a person, when we go to the airport to catch any international flight, we ourselves has to be there within in advance 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So for pet it requires minimum or additional 2 hours, so somehow it is become 6 hours in advance before the flight. So
Mm-hmm.
they're very concerned, okay, where will my pet be before 6 hour in advance. And some destinations have flying hours of 40 an hour, 15 hours. So in total it becomes 24 hour in a cage. So it was a big challenge and big responsibility on our shoulder to ensure that all things are in order, and so that customer is also satisfied. And to be very honest, I myself is a pet parent. I have 6 Persian cats, so I
Mm-hmm.
can understand what exactly is a requirement of a pet,
Mm-hmm.
because they themselves cannot speak. We need to understand
Right.
their emotion. So
Yeah.
I started giving hiring people, those who have love towards the animal, and
Mm-hmm.
then we started giving them official trainings. We send them to some of the NGOs to make themselves more familiar with the different type of pets. Because
Mm-hmm.
when we are a pet parent, we only know about only our pet. But
Mm-hmm.
now, as a company, we will be receiving multiple pet. It can be
Yeah.
ferocious, it
Yeah.
can be very loving, it can
Mm-hmm.
be anything. So we need to make ourselves so ready that once we are receiving the custody, we should be equipped enough in every way that we'll handle it very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the Indian breeds, they don't want themselves to be in any kind of kennel, because it is a mandatory requirement for any airline to put a cat into a cage, so that
Mm-hmm.
they can just load it the same cage into the cargo hold. So this was one of the big challenge. So
Mm-hmm.
as soon as we go up and got the trust, and we put it some testimonial videos, so somehow customer realize, okay, yes, they are genuine people and they can handle it. And fortunately, by the God grace, it all went as per the plan. Of course, there
Mm-hmm.
are some challenges in some shipments, because while dealing, you need to get in touch with multiple authorities. So sometimes you won't get any approval on time, and you
Mm-hmm.
already have the pet in your custody, and you have already done a commitment that my pet, that the customer pet will be delivered within 24 hours, 10 hours, as per the destination timing. But
Mm-hmm.
somehow it got delayed. So the
Right.
kind of pressure we had on our team, and I
Mm-hmm.
myself has worked during the nights, because most of the international flights are early in
Yeah.
the morning, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So
Yeah.
initial days, it was huge challenge. I need to put my phone always with me. I cannot put leave it alone, because
Mm-hmm.
anytime my phone ring and I have to answer to the customers, same
Mm-hmm.
time I have to guide my team. But
Mm-hmm.
that experience build up more stronger, because we have faced all kind of scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel more confident, and I am really happy to say that we are having our operations in all major metro cities. Carry My Pet is operational from Delhi, being in our head office in Gurgaon.
Mm-hmm.
And we are operational from Mumbai, we are operational from Hyderabad, from Bengaluru, from Calcutta and Chennai. And very soon we are planning to have our own office in Middle East.
Got you. Uh, Tell us a bit about the customers persona who there are a lot of pet owners, but not all of them would require a relocation service. So, what type of people come to you? Like, is it someone who is relocating to a new city or going for a holiday, or how does it work?
Well, some first thing is that every pet parent they want to travel.
Hmm.
This is something which even I was doubting by before starting the business, that why will pet parent will travel. But then I realized any person who is living, they have to travel.
Hmm.
It is not in my control or anybody else control that they won't travel. So, being a very expensive process, as I already told, the reason why it is an expensive process, it requires lot
Hmm.
of special attention, lot of special documentation. So it is an expensive process. So of course, every pet parent, though they have that love, affection towards the pet, but they are not willing to spend that much of amount for their pets.
Hmm.
Initially, they came to us with no mindset, and when we go and tell them the quotation, they are like surprised.
Hmm.
This is very expensive. This is the first reaction.
Hmm.
Then there are customers who took some loans, if they are, their pockets are not allowed, a kind
Hmm.
of affection. But if I talk about, most of the customers are HNI, and
Hmm.
most of the customer, they are above the average earners, so
Hmm.
they are able to support their love toward pets with their pet transportation cost.
Hmm.
And if I talk about the costing, international cost, it will cost somewhere around, start from 2 lakh to 3 lakh, 4 lakh, depending on the size of a pet and the destination. So again, it is a huge cost for any pet parent to pay 3 lakh rupees, 4 lakh rupees, or for any domestic transportation. It starts from 15,000 rupees and it goes up to 40, 30.
Hmm.
So it is again a very expensive cost. So the kind of customers which we, if we, I go and see the kind of customers we are handling, most of HNI and customers who are earning and having that much of ample amount so that they can spend. Of
Hmm.
course, if I talk about the customers in international, because of the documentation and Indian government rule, we cannot send a pet for a travel purpose. Anybody who is going out for only for a leisure, for traveling, for holidays, of
Hmm.
course, they pocket even if they allowed, but as per the government, it is not allowed. But
Hmm.
coming to the domestic, yes, there are people who take their pet on vacations, Goa and other destinations, and they even if they are traveling for any marriage or any family function, they are now having the option and they are traveling it with their pets. So most of the people are having a sound and ample amount of money, their pockets are allowing. So this
Hmm.
kind of customer base we have.
Got you. Uh, I think it was an interesting journey you had building this venture. But tell us about some of the failures that you went through during your entrepreneurial journey. When did you fail?
To be very honest, if I talk about failure in terms of a business model, I am fortunate enough that we have not faced any failure like this. But
Hmm.
again, as I told that we are offering a service which is not being directly produced or manufactured by us.
Hmm.
We are offering a service which is being offered actually by someone else. For
Right.
example, if we are moving to any foreign country, of course, we need to book that cargo and that freight part with the airlines,
Hmm.
and we need to go as per the custom rule. So if I talk about the failures, failures are operational failures, not any failure in terms of business. I'm fortunate enough that since the inception we are a profitable company and we are able to meet our expenses, and
Hmm.
now we are looking out. So as such, there was no business failure, but of course, when you work and you handle a number of queries, there are operational failures, and that was a huge pressure on us because there was one incident which happened, and it was quite difficult for us to handle that pet. During the period of COVID, there was very limited flights,
Hmm.
and everybody was traveling to their own native places,
Hmm.
and it was like that the life has finished and now
Hmm.
we have to move back to our places. So same time, they want us and putting pressure on us. Ki now I have no idea, but I want my pet to travel to
Hmm.
to my place. I
Hmm.
have no idea how you're going to do it, but you have to do it. So
Okay.
there was, we made some commitment, and that was a very emotional time we go through, because some people have lost their family members during the pandemic, and they were so emotionally connected with their pets, even if there was no options available, and they are forcing to us that to have to do it, and
Hmm.
seeking the condition of that person, we somehow say yes to them, and not fulfilling the commitment was kind of a operational failure for us.
Mhm.
Of course, it was because of some airlines and other challenges, but that was the only failure I count.
Got you. Tell us a bit about the scalability aspect of this venture. As in, I understand there is a lot of operational coordination required, a lot of different stakeholders involved, and for example, flight gets delayed or cancelled, or the person who was supposed to travel with the pet is not available or falls sick, or maybe instances like the pet is not well, pet is not cooperative. So there are a lot of variables. So how do you solve for scalability? How do you scale up your venture?
Well, this pet industry, if I talk about my initial journey when we came up with the idea in 2019,
Mm,
and we realized there was very limited queries, and most of the queries are not coming as per which can fulfill the requirement of any business. Because
mm,
when we talk about scalability, we need to talk about masses.
yeah.
We need to first see that how big is the market.
Mm,
So if I talk about scalability, and initially we used to get only very limited queries in a month, like
mm,
only 100, 50, 50, 75, max to max 300, 200. But now I feel and I see that growth in the business. There are n number of companies who has came up in pet industry. If I talk about, and if I talk about only pet transportation, of course there are some startup which has come up.
mm,
And coming back to our scalability module, we are putting a lot of efforts and lot of brainstorming into the action to come across some different modules. So very soon, I cannot disclose the business model right now, but it is under process, and I'm sure it is going to be a very huge turning point for Carry My Pet,
mm,
because it is something which is having a small volume and a huge market. As if
mhm,
now we are only offering services to limited customers
mhm,
who can fulfill and travel in terms of cost, in terms of documentation. So somehow it is restricting the business module, even
mm,
though there is a need, but because of challenges you cannot offer the service.
right.
So we are coming up with those we have sorted out those challenges,
Mm,
and providing more opportunity to the customer. We have made some mobile applications, and we have made some uh, we are in process of building some platforms where customer can any kind of customer can come up and get through their pet transportation needs. So I'm sure it will be a turning point in terms of scalability.
got you. My final question for you: what would you say is the meaning of entrepreneurship for you? How would you define the term entrepreneur? Who is an entrepreneur?
Entrepreneur is a one initially, if I talk about in few words, who can face any kind of challenge, and you need to be 100% open, and you need to ready like a soldier that any point of time you can be called upon. First
Mm,
thing, and you need to be very patient, because everything does not go as per your plan. So
mm,
you need to welcome things, and you need to come up, you need to be that open that you face every challenge, because it is not an easy task. When you work for a company, you work for a limited hours, and you are only working, seeing that little scope of your
mm,
contribution in it. But when you sit around the other side of a table, as an boss, as an founder, as a leader, where a huge team is standing behind you, so that responsibility requires a lot of courage. To be
mm,
very honest, sometimes I feel like कि यार नहीं हो पा रहा. But again, that motivation is required, which gives you a fuel that yes, you have to do it. You have taken this as an option yourself. It is something which you have chosen yourself. So
mm,
that give you fuel. So you need to be very patient. You need to be very open to accept any kind of challenge, because trust me, till date, being into the entrepreneurship for more than 5 years almost now,
mm,
I still feel sometimes that any day, every day, you are receiving n number of challenges.
right.
Sometimes people who has made commitment to you, they are leaving. Sometimes you are short of funds. Sometimes because of government norms, there are some challenges. So you need to be very ready, and every time you have to show that courage, and you need to give yourself that power that yes, this will also be solved. So if I talk about in one word, it requires courage, and you have to be 100% patient person and open for any kind of challenge.
Well, on this note, we will close the session. Thanks for your time, Amir. I think you are building a super venture that is filled with passion and love for animals. Our best wishes for Carry My Pet.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time as well and your importance to us that you gave us this opportunity to come and speak about this problem. Of course, this is a huge problem, and in foreign countries there are companies who has solved this a year ago. But again, never too late. We have taken this pledge, and I promise to every pet parent that we will come up with lot more solutions, and we'll again come up with some new ideas to make it more easy and more convenient. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time as well.
Thank you, Amir.